Hey guys, this is Andrew with rockclass101.com, and in this mini lesson, we're going to be learning how to use the CAGED method to create a beautiful harmony that adds to the music. So what do I mean by adding to the music? Well, let me explain. So in the performance, we had two ukulele players. Player one, throughout the entire song, played basic chords and he strummed a simple down and up strum pattern. Now player two, in the first half of the song, copied player one to a T. He played the exact same chords with the exact same strum pattern. But in the second half of the song, player two did something different. He played chords higher up the neck and he fingerpicked them. So let me ask you a question. Which sounded better? The first half of the song where player one and player two played the exact same thing, or the second half of the song where player two stopped copying player one and did something different? I think most of us would agree that the second half of the tune sounded better. In the second half of the tune, player two stopped copying player one and instead he started complementing what player one was doing. In other words, he harmonized with player one. How did he do it? Well, he used the CAGED method. Now, this lesson, it's not going to explain what the CAGED method is because we already have a lesson on that. So if you want to check it out, you can click this link. I'll also link it in the description box below. I would highly encourage you to go through that lesson first before jumping into this one because it's really vital that you understand what the CAGED method is and how to apply it, because this lesson is a real-world example of how to apply it. So let's take a step back and let's talk a little bit about this lesson. So in this video, I'm going to be teaching you guys how to play everything that both players did, but if you want to get the tabs to print off and follow along with, that's going to be available at this link right here, or you can go to the site rockclass101.com and do a search for ML007. That's the lesson number for this mini lesson. And also on that page will be the really cool interactive on-screen tab viewer. Now this is a neat feature where you can hit play, you can watch the tabs scroll across in real time, you can highlight bars to loop sections, slow it down to any speed you wish, just a great asset in learning this song that much easier. And last but not least, we'll have backing tracks that you can download too. So we're going to have 100% speed, 75% speed, and 50% speed. So once you learn the uke parts, you can rock out at home with the band. All right, so a couple things that we want to touch on first before we jump into learning this. So the first thing is that AJ played this tune on a low G ukulele, but you can use a high G. Both tunings work and it doesn't matter which one you use. I'm actually going to be using a high G to teach you how to play this tune. The second thing I want to touch on is our right hand. So the strumming is very simple. It's just a down and up strum pattern. So you can use strumming with your thumb. You can use just generic, basic, simple down and up strum technique. There's nothing fancy happening with the strumming. Finger picking wise, I would recommend using a 3-finger approach. So when we get to the finger picking part, it's going to be finger picking strings 3, 2, and 1. We're actually not going to play string 4 at all. So I would recommend using your thumb for string 3, index for string 2, and middle finger for string 1. So that 3-finger approach is a great technique to use for the finger picking section. And that's pretty much it. So let's jump into learning it. So we're going to start off with player one, because player one is going to teach us two things that's important. First off, what key we're playing in, and secondly, what the chord progression is. So let's take a look at the first 4 bars of the tab. Now, we can see off the bat, we're starting on a C chord, so that's a good hint of what key we're playing in, which is the key of C. So if we look at the first 4 chords, we have C to G to A minor to F. Now our C chord, that's our 1 chord. We have the basic C shape, then we go to a G chord, basic G shape, then A minor, basic A minor shape, and F, basic F shape. And our strum pattern, it's the ever popular island strum. So down, down, up, up, down, up. If we think of it from a rhythmic standpoint, we have 1, 2, end, and 4, end. So we're just going to be doing that throughout these 4 bars. So down, down, up, down, up, switch to the G, down, down, up, down, up, switch to the A minor, down, down, up, down, up, switch to the F, down, down, up, down, up. Now if we take a look at the next 4 bars, and this is actually going to complete the form, so this song is only 8 bars in length. We look at measure 5, back to C, then to G, then to F for 2 bars. So it changes at the end. So instead of switching to A minor, we just hang on the F chord. So let's take away this tab, and here's what we want to just memorize. We want to memorize the chord progression. So you can say it 2 ways. You can go C, G, A minor, F, C, G, F, F, or you can think of it as the Nashville numbering system. In the key of C, we have 1, 5, 6, 4, 1, 5, 4, 4. Now, if that blew your mind, you have absolutely no idea what I'm talking about, check out this lesson, which covers the Nashville numbering system. I'll link it in the description box below as well. So get that chord progression memorized. The strum pattern's super easy, and let's go ahead and try a play along with AJ. So I'm gonna keep it at 100% speed. If you need to slow it down, you can use that cog in the YouTube player to go a little bit slower. But let's try play along with AJ. You'll have 2 bar count in before you come in. So let's give it a shot, and then we'll come back and we'll start learning the finger pick section. All right, so now that we know the chord progression that we're playing out of, let's go ahead and take a look at how we're going to harmonize it using the CAGED method. So let's put up the first 4 bars of tabs, so measure 9, 10, 11, and 12. So the first chord that we're playing out of was C, and you can see that we're going to be playing a C chord using the G chord shape. So go ahead and make a G chord shape for me, and let's just ignore string number 4. Now if we take this shape and we move it up a whole step, it becomes an A. If we move it up another whole step, it becomes a B chord. If we move it up a half step, we get where we want to be, which is the C chord. So all we did was we took the G chord shape and we moved it up the neck all the way until it became a C major. So it's as simple as that. Now let's take a look at our finger picking pattern. It's very, very simple. It's actually going to be the same pattern for the next 7 bars. So if you learn it once, you've got it for the next 7 bars. Our pattern calling out the strings is going to be string 1, string 2, string 3, string 1, string 2, string 3. It's that simple, but the rhythm is key. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So you have 8th note, 8th note, 8th note, quarter note, 8th note, quarter note. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So you've got to hold out 2 of those hits a little bit longer. Try with me. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Nice. So pretty simple. A little bit of syncopation in there, but not too hard. Now, as we take a look at the next chord, we are playing a G chord, but we're going to be using the D chord shape. So if we make our basic D chord, which we all know and love, let's go ahead and simplify it to omit string number 4. So I want you to fret this chord using the 2nd finger, 3rd finger, and then the open A. Now, if we take this shape and we move it up a whole step, it becomes an E major. If we move it up a half step, it becomes an F. If we move it up a whole step, we get where we want to be, which is a G chord. So again, that simple to use the caged method. We're just taking the shapes that we all know and love and moving them up the neck until we get where we want to be. So we have the exact same pattern for our right hand. So there's a loop a few times if you want to play along, but it's very, very simple because it's the exact same rhythm, the exact same pattern that you're plucking for the right hand. So at this point, I would recommend working on two things. First off is just getting the muscle memory down as you go from C to G. But the second thing I would work on is also thinking about the shapes that you're playing out of, aka the caged method, right? So we're playing a C chord using the G shape and then a G chord using the D shape. So you want to think about that caged method as well when you're practicing. So let's go ahead and move on. Let's take a look at what happens for our third measure, aka measure 11. So for measure 11, we're playing an A minor chord using the D major chord shape. Now this bar is going to be a little bit trickier because we have an extra step. We have to alter or change the major chord into a minor chord. So go ahead and make the stock D major chord shape, the full chord. Now, most of us know already how to play D minor. All we have to do is lift our pinky finger up, put our index finger down on that first fret of string 2. And changing that one note goes major to minor. It's that simple. Now, remember in this tune, we're omitting string 4 with our finger picked section. So let's go ahead and simplify this chord just to 2, 1, open A. So middle finger, index, open A. Okay? And actually, you know what? Scratch that. Let's use these fingers because we need to move the chord shape up the neck. So use your ring, your middle, and then open A. So we have D minor. So if we take this D minor shape and we move it up a whole step, it's going to become E minor, but we have to do one extra thing with our index finger. We have to place it onto the second fret of string 1. So we had 2, 1, 0, go up a whole step, 4, 3, 2. Okay, so that's E minor right there. If we go up a half step, F minor, go up a whole step, G minor, and go up one more whole step, we get where we want to be, A minor. Now, you can also skip some of the work. Here's what I mean by that. Instead of starting on the D, changing it to D minor, moving it all the way up, you could use the principle of cage and just start on E minor and move it up the neck. Remember to omit string 4 though, if you do that. So that's kind of a way to bypass some of the work. So now that we know the shape that we're playing out of, we're going to be doing the exact same right hand picking pattern. So nothing changes. 1, 2, and 3, and 4. So the same right hand picking pattern here, though I think we can skip over a play along for that since it's so repetitive. And let's take a look at our next measure. So we're going to be playing an F chord using the A chord shape. So let's go ahead and make an A major chord at the very beginning of the neck, but let's use these fingers. Let's use ring and middle to fret the A chord. If we move this A chord shape up a whole step, we have to bar the bottom strings, so second fret of string 1 and 2. That gives us a B. If we go up a half step, we have a C. If we go up a whole step, we have a D. If we go up a whole step, we have an E. And if we go up a half step, we get where we want to be, which is an F. Keep in mind, we don't need the 4th string for what we're playing, so just go ahead and play the bottom half of this. So string 3, 9th fret, lay flat on 8 with the index, string 1 and 2, and the exact same right hand picking pattern. So that is our first 4 bars in a nutshell. So here's what I would recommend doing right now, guys, is just go ahead and play through those 4 chord shapes, get the muscle memory down as you work through it. You can even simplify it. You can just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, just to get the muscle memory of moving your left hand into the chord shapes. But also go back and do the second thing. Think about the shapes that you're playing out of and how it relates to the caged method. So let's go ahead and take a look at what happens for the next 4 bars. So for measure 13 and measure 14, we're going back to playing the C chord using the G shape and then the G chord using the D shape. So it's the exact same thing we did for measure 9 and 10. So let's skip over those 2 bars and let's take a look at the last 2 bars. So measure 15, we have to play an F chord using the D chord shape. Well, we're already playing a G chord using the D shape in the previous bar, so all we have to do is go down a whole step, and this G chord becomes an F. So 5, 5, 3. And our right hand picking pattern, you guessed it, is the same. Now, the next measure, measure 16, that's where things are a little bit different. So you can see that we are playing quarter notes and we're doing a double stop, which is fancy terminology that means we're playing 2 notes at the same time. Now this double stop literally just has our melody walking up, just C, D, E, F, and then we end on C. So check it out. We're going to go from where we left off, the F chord shape, get rid of your middle finger. So we have 5 and 3. We're going to pluck string 2 and 1. Go up a whole step to 7 and 5. Pluck 2 and 1. Now go up a whole step with your index finger, so lift the ring up. So go to 7, put your middle finger down on 8 on string 2. So I've got 8 and 7, pluck both strings. And then go up a half step, so lift your middle finger up, half step with the index finger, and pluck 8 and 10 on string 2 with the ring. Okay, so together I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm playing 2 shapes. This is shape 1, middle, index. You can see there's 1 fret in between. Go up a whole step, same shape. Then I have shape number 2, so 8 and 7, and then back to shape number 1. Right, so 1 fret in between. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So it just walks up C, D, E, F, and the note on the second string just harmonizes with it. Right, so kind of a cool little change. And I threw this in at this part of the music just to kind of give us a stronger resolution to signify the end of the song. So something melodic that gives us a stronger ending sound. Okay, let's see if we can try that together. 1, 2, ready, go. Beautiful. And if we look at the last bar of this tune, we're just going to strum, or we can pluck the C chord shape using the the C chord using the G chord shape. Okay, so you may want to practice that last section, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then ending on that G chord shape. So if we put the last 4 bars up again, 13, 14, 15, and 16, you just want to practice it, just these 4 bars on their own, kind of like I suggested to practice 9, 10, 11, 12. So you just want to get comfortable with the shapes and then that walk up. Okay, so all together sounds like this. Okay, now if I play all 8 bars plus the last chord, it sounds like this. So at this point, let's go ahead and try this, guys. Let's try to play along with AJ. I'm going to keep it at 100% speed, but if you need to slow it down, you can use that YouTube cog to slow down the tempo, or the playback speed, I should say. And it's going to start a few bars before you come in, so I'll have the measures labeled too, so you'll see like measure, we could start on measure 5. So we'll have 5, 6, 7, 8, so you can kind of feel the tempo. Then you come in on measure 9 and try the fingerpicked chord harmony alongside the strummed chords that AJ is playing. So let's give that a shot, then we'll come back and wrap up this lesson. All right, guys, so I think this mini lesson is really going to be a big light bulb moment for a lot of folks, especially those who have never studied the CAGED method before. Because the CAGED method allows you to take those chord shapes that you've played and learned literally from the start of your ukulele journey. You've played those chords 1,000 times, and it shows you how you can take those shapes, move them up the neck till they become other chords. And then this example, this little etude that we're playing, is a real-world example of a very common chord progression where you can utilize the CAGED method to create a harmony, to add to the music. So if you're ever at a ukulele jam and everyone's strumming those same chords, you can be different. You can do something like you did in this lesson, and you can fingerpick a beautiful harmony over it. So if you enjoyed this lesson, guys, we actually have another one that's similar but goes a step further. It's a little bit more challenging to play because it also has a solo that you can learn. It's one of our concept lessons, so I think it's number 2. I do believe it's number 2. I'm going to link it in the description box below, so it's concept lesson episode 2. But it teaches you something similar to what we learned here, so you get to fingerpick a beautiful harmony over a simple strum pattern, and then you go a step further and learn how to solo over it. So if you want to continue with this type of lesson, check that one out. Now, I do want to give you a friendly reminder that if you did want to get the tabs to print and keep for your records for this lesson, that was available at this link, or you can go to the site rockclass101.com, do a search for ML007, that's the lesson number for this lesson, and don't forget too, on that page was the really cool interactive on-screen tab viewer. So you can literally hit play, you can watch the tab scroll across in real time, you can highlight bars to loop sections, slow it down to any speed you wish. Just a great asset in learning this tune that much easier. And last but not least, we'll have backing tracks that you can download too. So we're going to have 100% speed, 75% speed, and 50% speed. So once you learn the uke parts, you can rock out at home with the band. All right, guys, so I hope you enjoyed this lesson. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment box below for this YouTube video, or post them on our forum at rockclass101.com, or send me an email. Always happy to help any way that I can. And until then, I'll catch you in the next lesson. Take care.